I'll call the meeting to order. Mary, can I have a roll call, please?
Isaac Norfeld.
Here.
Marge Jorgensen.
Here.
Zach Ross.
Here.
Mary Coombs.
Here.
Maria Mason.
Here.
Lisa Cantor.
Here.
Jack Creeley. Harris Spielman.
Here.
Brenda Disney.
Everyone rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on to the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 11th. Everyone should have a chance to review them. If there's any additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Give a motion a second to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on March 11th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight, all you folks that are watching us online. All right, we move on to number 6, public comment. We do have one person that signed up for public comment. So in the recognition of privacy rights of individuals and employees of the district, the Board of Education prohibits any public comment on individual employees or constituents of the district and on matters in which an employee or constituent may be identified or referred from the comments. The Board of Education will generally not discuss or take action on non-agenda items brought by the public at that meeting. So with that said, I will ask Angela Davis to please come forward. You're going to just come up to the podium there.
Thank you. I am a parent of children in the Beaver Dam Unified School District, and I am a newly hired employee working as a substitute TA in the high school. And I have not had the opportunity to attend any of the meetings or talks regarding the new middle school, but I did want to come and voice a few of my concerns that I had, just from what I've heard other people talking that have been to the talk about the new middle school. First of all, I just wanted to talk about the vape shops being so close to the current middle school. I understand at this point, with a blank slate, it doesn't seem possible that this should be a concern with the new middle school. However, I've noticed not only Smokes on the Water setting up shop directly across from the current middle school, but also the gas stations across from McDonald's, also having neon signs advertising vape products. And I just feel that elementary and middle schools should be distanced from vape, alcohol, and tobacco products. Moving forward, if there was an ordinance or something that needed to be put in play to prevent this in the future, I think that should be considered. Second, I just wanted to also advise, considering putting into use some sort of technology that is out there and being utilized by other school districts to limit the use of cell phones by students while in school. It has truly become a troublesome epidemic in our Beaver Dam schools. I believe it would change the culture and the learning environment if a solidly enforced a policy was in place for the technology tools to assist with it. This would make a dramatic difference in test scores and mental health for all students and staff. I've watched teachers thoroughly explain the whole pre-ACT process, and 12 out of 15 students in that classroom were on their phones and did not even pay attention or watch what the teacher was doing. And there's lots of those kinds of examples. Meetups in the hallway and breakout spaces are constant. Just from talking in class, getting a pass and coming and just meeting and hanging out for the amount of time until they are asked to go back to class. Lastly, I just would like to recommend, and this is just what I've heard from other people talking. Like I said, I didn't see this personally in the plans, but in the new middle school, to make sure that there is just regular tennis courts there, so that the middle school students have the opportunity to form a tennis team, which would feed into our high school tennis team. Right now for the middle school, a lot of their sports opportunities are limited. If you're not in Positively Hoops or the soccer or the baseball, then, you know, you're kind of limited as to what feeds into the high school. And seeing that tennis is very popular, not pickleball, but tennis, you know, they just got done with a match tonight, and that was just the boys. It would be great if the middle school students had some type of engagement in that manner as well. Also for track, because having a child in the middle school and in high school, I've noticed it's changed over the past few years. My high schooler was able to take a shuttle bus from the middle school and come over here for track practice. And today, for my middle schooler, that was not an option. She either had to walk or find a ride from a friend. And so I'm not really sure what's happening there. It seems if we want the kids to participate, we want to have these future athletes feed into the high school, we need to make things accessible for them. And if there's not going to be a track at the new middle school, then that needs to be considered as well. How are you going to get the kids from that side of town over here for track practice or for tennis practice or for theater? That was another issue. They had to come over to practice their play, and there was no way to get them over here from the middle school. So just take that into consideration as well. Those are just a few of the concerns I had, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Angela. Look, I see Mark noted down your concerns and your ideas, and I do too. I think so we appreciate your input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to number 7, the agenda. Everyone should have a copy of the agenda. If everything looks okay, I entertain a motion to adopt it.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to reports to be presented by the administration. 8.1, School of the Month presentation, Lincoln Elementary School. Mr. Treinberg, you're up.
You're going to see a lot of purple. We like purple at Lincoln, purple and gold. All right, can you hear me fine? I've been up here before, so thanks. First, before I start, I just want to express my gratitude to the school board, administration, and central office staff, the teachers and families of Lincoln. It's just a tremendous place to be in my experience. Starting in the summer, this has been a great place to be, so I hope you enjoy our presentation. I haven't used this guy yet either. All right. So we're just going to go over our school success plan goals. I'm going to give an overview of them, our English language arts goal, our math goal, and our staff effectiveness and development goal. I'll talk about some of the initial steps that we started on in the beginning of the year and kind of pivots that we've made throughout the year, ways that, or opportunities that we saw that we could really push towards reaching those goals. Some other goals would be increasing parent engagement, opportunities for student engagement, and that continuous communication of high expectations for high achievement for all Lincoln students. We really believe that the expectations you set for students are the expectations you're going to meet, so holding them to those high expectations and giving them opportunities to celebrate that achievement is very important. So starting with English language arts, our school success plan goal was that 70% of students will be on grade level as measured by the iReady reading assessment in spring of 2024. We developed this goal as a 4% increase from the 3-year average. So the 3-year average would show that Lincoln students were around 66% early on grade level or above grade level during the spring iReady. So looking at an increase here, looking at the start, our fall scores, we were right around, my math isn't great, 22% of early on grade level or at grade level. That was in our September iReady. Our January iReady showed around 57% of those students early grade level or on grade level. Then we'll talk a little bit about the steps that we've done to make that growth and steps that we're going to continue to push that growth leading into spring testing season and spring iReady. So our initial actions and commitments were a focus on the daily foundational skills and lessons through our HMH curriculum, daily phonics practice and instruction, monitoring that through our comprehensive phonics survey. Our phonics survey is kind of a neat tool that we've used for tracking. It's a series of nonsense words that students need to decode that get progressively more difficult. And with that phonics instruction, the purpose being if students are more successful at decoding, they can become more fluent readers, they can improve their comprehension. Some additional steps we've taken on, adding iReady personalized instruction licenses for students that may need extra support or are really successful at working independently, giving the teacher more opportunity to work with other students in the classroom and really maximizing that workshop time. We've also added a reading initiative through our library. We've had literacy nights, and we've also had several read around Lincolns where students have the opportunity to read to other students in other classrooms, or K through 5 kindergarten students might be joined up with fifth graders, just really increasing that joy and love of reading. So those are some of the steps we've taken to reach our ELA goal. Looking at our math goal, we wanted 66% of students to be at grade level or above in the spring iReady, which is again a 4% increase from the 3-year average, meaning that over the past 3 years, it's been around 62% of students at grade level or above. Starting in the fall, our assessment showed us that we were right around 14% of students at grade level, early on grade level. And in our January assessment, we'd moved up to around 41%. So really wanting to push that, we've taken additional steps in math that I'll talk about in a second. So our initial actions and commitments were weekly lessons in numbers and operations and essential standards, daily number sense practice through workshop. Number sense being the ability to understand, relate, connect numbers in different ways. So instead of, what's the answer to 6 plus 4, what are different ways that you can make 10, and really building that number sense and connecting numbers and seeing them in different ways. Some additional steps we've taken are training paraprofessionals, teachers' assistants in supporting Kickstart Math Kit during workshop times, and that's just another tool to build number sense, a lot of manipulative work so kids are understanding numbers in different ways. We also have math interventionist support, 2nd and 4th quarter, and working with our math interventionist, our SIT team, which I'll talk about later. We look at students, look at their iReady data, and support classroom interventions as well, but that math interventionist is working directly with kids that might be more at the tier 3 level and really need that extra push or that extra support to meet those goals. Something that we've worked really hard on at Lincoln is a school-wide math initiative to support foundational skills. And in developing our math initiative, our collaborative teams, our grade level teams came together and really wanted to understand what are our students missing. So we come together and we develop 2 to 4 problems a night that we want students to work on. And with those problems, they are designed to loop back and kind of fill the gaps that students may have in their learning so they can be successful at learning the new material. So if there's something missing, we're looking at the data like, ooh, that student isn't very successful at this essential standard. What are some problems we can design that are going to support that and really build some confidence in that skill so they can move on? Looking at our 3rd goal, staff effectiveness and development. This goal is cultural in a way, and I'll talk more about the culture of Lincoln. But that goal is 50% of staff will respond with a 3 or higher on perceived effectiveness of delivering tiered social, emotional, and behavioral interventions as reported on the PLC survey. So that question asked, my school site is effective with the resources we have at delivering tiered social, emotional, and behavioral interventions. A 5 being absolutely effective, a 1 being not at all effective. And I put a couple charts up there just for some historical perspective on why we chose this goal. In 2022, that survey was responded with about 55% of staff reporting a 3 or higher. In 2023, that reported back as about 35%, with no staff responding with an absolutely effective. So this felt like a place that we needed to target, and we needed to target now, so that is why we chose this as our goal for staff effectiveness and development. So some things that we do to reach this goal. Our initial action steps are focusing on students' learning expectations and the continuous efforts to teach, reteach, reinforce, and model to support students' sustained learning. And you'll hear about that more I'm going to go through a little bit of what a day looks like for a student and their opportunities to hear what their expectations are, learn their expectations, and exemplify those expectations. Our SIT team will meet continuously to monitor the tiered social, emotional, and behavioral interventions. That's our school intervention team. I'll talk about how that team operates. And our SEL team will continuously lead positive school culture initiatives. Some additional steps along the way. It's promoting positive parent-guardian engagement and promoting opportunities for Lincoln students to engage in their success and growth through celebration and recognition. It's more of the fun stuff of school, but very important building that school community. So our SIT team, our school intervention team, is solution focused. That team, teachers may have a student that's struggling behaviorally in the classroom. They've used their tier 1 supports, and they're still struggling with that student. They need to find a way to reach that student so they can meet the expectations in the building. But we're solution focused in this team. So a lot of problems coming through, but it's what can we do about that? How can we solve this for the student? This includes our PPS staff, so our school psychologist, our school social worker, our LST, and then we have added 2 regular education staff representatives. That's a change from the beginning of the year, and I'll talk about why we decided to add regular education staff as well. This team supports staff in designing and implementing specific targeted behavior interventions for students. We monitor the effectiveness of those interventions. It could be like check in, check out with another adult in the morning. It could be a point slip, like keeping track of how you're doing during the day with other staff in different subjects. Maybe at your specials you're struggling, so how can we meet you there and make you want to succeed? And then we also added checking in with the regular education teacher frequently to modify the intervention as needed, because an intervention is only as good as how well it's done with fidelity. So adding that piece as well has been very important. We added regular education staff because those are the people that are carrying out the intervention. They need to be there. They need to have an important voice in that discussion. Our SEL team, social emotional learning team, made up of teachers within the building, support and monitor the school-wide behavior expectations, design monthly expectations initiatives, which we'll talk about, supporting our assemblies, and then supporting our initiative calendar. So a look at our calendar. We were very lucky that our name is Lincoln Lightning, because the acronym Lightning lines up really well with the school months of the school year. So for example, in September, we're talking about being leaders. In October, we're talking about being inclusive. Worked out really well that in April, we went with never give up, being testing season, that it's a time for, it's spring, we need to never give up. So we came together in the fall to design this. And when we talk about our assemblies and our daily announcements, we're always tying it back to our character traits, and we're always tying it back to what are the expectations, where do we want to see the expectations. Something that we've done is our shout-out wall. So during morning announcements, staff weekly get a form to fill out to nominate students. So all those little lightning bolts have a name on them from a student. During March, it was inquisitive. So during morning announcements, the student will hear their name and how they exemplified the character trait of being inquisitive. During our assemblies, when that's filled up with about 30 lightning bolts or so, we'll spin a wheel and 1 or 2 students will get to win a prize. What's been really cool about this is that in the month of, let's just say the month of December, when we're talking about being helpers, it's not students coming up saying, I was a helper, I should be on the shout-out board, but it's more students coming up and talking about other students saying, they were being a really good helper, they should be on the shout-out board. So students taking ownership of each other, feeling good about each other has been really powerful in the building. More ways that we show these expectations, that we show these character traits throughout the building. Shout out to our tremendous librarian, Roxanne Miller, who does a great job on the windows, but just giving students the opportunity for that consistent messaging of what we expect from them. During Inquisitive, we had a wonder wall, another thing that we tied in with announcements, so students are hearing their names. During morning meeting, when they're talking about that character trait, in Inquisitive, for example, they would ask a question, it would get sent to the office, and then we'd have an answer for them. We learned a lot in March, a lot of interesting stuff. Our all-school assemblies, we celebrate leaders and learners. They get a whole school lesson on the next character trait and how we can tie that character trait into how we are meeting those expectations in the classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria, at the playground, how we can meet those expectations and that character trait at home and in the community. During those whole school lessons, we'll be asking students to give give ideas about how they can show that character trait, what that character trait means to them, and then we recognize the outstanding efforts from our students and staff. Students receive a certificate, and we get a picture sent home, and a lot of excitement at those moments. We start the week with the morning lightning minute, where we can cover that character trait again. Just that consistent messaging of the expectations for that character trait. We talk about the fun events we had last week, things that are going to be going on this week, but we focus on our expectations in the hallways, cafeteria, playground, in the classroom, and how it ties back to that character trait. And what that's really led to is a sense of ownership for the students. When they're hearing their name and hearing the success they're having with meeting those expectations, they take ownership over the building. So we've had some playground cleanups as well, where the students just want to really own their experience and have a purpose in their school and really buy into the expectations we have for them. That last snowfall was a great one to get the shovels back out, because they love to work, so great job with that. And on to parent-family connections. So we've had our tremendous PTO at Lincoln. We've had events like a school cookout, school dance, movie night, donuts and grown-ups, bingo night. And what's been successful about all these events is that every event has been attended by at least 2 staff other than myself. And I should have included that every event that's after school has been attended by at least 2 staff other than myself. All staff attend the ones that are during the school day. Most of these are happening on Friday, so really big shout out to the staff at Lincoln for being involved and connected with the community and the families at Lincoln. More than 60% of our staff have attended at least one after-school student-family event, and these are opportunities for families to connect with the school in a low-stress environment and support that relationship building. We're being mindful of the fact that some families might have barriers to wanting to enter school. They might have some preconceived notions about what it is to be in school. So really dropping that wall down so students or families can feel comfortable coming into the building and being a part of that, because it takes students, families, and staff to come together to get high achievement. Just a couple examples, fun pictures of the events we've had. Bingo night was a hit. I got to be the bingo caller, which was a check mark off on my bucket list. I highly recommend it. Books and blankets was fun. Students came in with pajamas and blankets. We read stories, we did crafts, ended with a bedtime story. Donuts and grown-ups was another opportunity for staff or for families to come into the building, low stress environment, see where their kid's learning, talk to the teacher without any expectations, just to continue to build that relationship. So looking ahead, we need to continue to review and reteach those high expectations throughout the building and look for opportunities for that. Identify opportunities to engage with parents and guardians and really build that connection as a community school. We need to improve our data collection and our collaborative teams and use it to drive our academic decision-making, our instructional decision-making. And really, it comes down to build and message a culture of high expectations and high achievement with the families, with the staff, with the students. So everyone is on the same page of high achievement. So again, thank you all, thank you board, thank you admin team. You've been incredibly helpful for me in my first year here at Beaver Dam. But thank you all for the support, and do you have any questions for me?
I just want to say that I was at the tour, so thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. It was, I got to see, the kids working with the math in different ways, see what kind of equations we can have. And it was interesting to see. One thing that really stuck out to me was just the culture of that school. The staff, it boils down to the kids. There's a lot of great things happening in Lincoln, and I commend you and your staff and everyone for that. It was a really good feeling in that building. So.
Thanks. Yeah, it's tremendous staff to work with. They are there for the kids.
I have a question. The iReady tests that the kids take, is it given twice a year?
3
Or is it
times.
Only
So
one time?
Fall, winter, and spring.
Okay.
3.
Oh, fall, winter, and spring. Okay, so there will be another test coming up soon then?
Yep, at the end of April, beginning of May.
Okay, okay. And what is the Comprehensive Phonics Survey?
So that's that's the name of it, Comprehensive Phonics Survey. It has 10 different levels in it, so it's a series of nonsense words that students have to decode. So that the words don't actually mean anything, but they have to sound it out and become more fluent at sounding it out with the skills that they've gained through phonics instruction. And it gets progressively more difficult, progressively more syllables.
Okay.
I have one more question for you on the spot. Maybe this is a question for teaching and learning with Rob, but when we were meeting before we took our tour, we were meeting with the staff, Mrs. Sether talked about a reading class or a reading assignment that the teachers are doing. What does that all entail?
So she was asking about the professional development, the required work that they're doing in association with Act 20. The teachers, and she was talking about that a little bit and encouraging at a later teaching and learning opportunity to hear more about how the transfer will look for our staff into the schools for next year, for example, when everybody's completed that effort.
Okay, I guess I should ask that teaching and learning. Sorry.
Thanks.
It's good.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Connor?
Yeah, I was at the visit too. We had a great visit, I thought. I love the message, the high expectation. I truly believe that too, that, that children that they will strive to meet that expectation. And so I think that's a great mentality to have in that school. You definitely, with the staff, like John said, I'm very excited to see where our Lincoln Lightning School goes. I think we are definitely headed in the right direction there, so I want to commend you and the staff on that. And two, the parent engagement part, I really truly believe that our students that have that kind of parent engagement, we have to have our parents helping pull that rope in the same direction. So I do commend you on that as well, getting our families in the door and making sure that they understand their importance, in helping their children grow, So I definitely, very, very, very impressed with our visit there, and like I say, I'm excited to see where we go with it.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 8.2, resolution authorizing the establishing of a long-term capital improvement trust fund, Fund 46. Mr. Cashman.
Thank you. All right, so this presentation is just to give some context to what a Fund 46 is and what is required by the board to establish this fund. So just a little background, a Fund 46, it's a long-term capital improvement trust fund that can only be used for capital projects and must undergo an initial 5-year waiting period before those funds that are deposited in that account can be used. You can deposit funds at any time in that account. Typically, most school districts do it once a year, and then at the end of the 5-year waiting period, you can continue to deposit, but you can also spend out of it. Some advantages of a Fund 46 include increases the district's shared cost over a given year. So on a year where spending could typically be up, you may put less in the Fund 46, and when spending is down, you may put more in it to maintain consistent spending over a period of time. That consistent spending is really helpful because it helps predict aid and can ultimately increase the aid from the state for the school district. It's also a really nice saving venue for future known capital expenses outside of the general operating budget. For the Beaver Dam School District, we do roofing projects pretty consistently over the years, so we know we're going to have roofing projects. We know we're going to have to keep up on that maintenance schedule, and so that's a really predictable way and a good option to use Fund 46 for. Some other basic information. The creation of the fund involves 3 different steps. The Board of Education must approve a 10-year capital improvement plan. I know that was in your board packet that you received last week. The Board of Education must approve a resolution to establish a trust, and the district must have a segregated bank account for the funds. So we'll need to create a separate account where only these funds can go in. We're not allowed to spend that account until the end of the 5 years, and then that account is separate. So we cannot touch that money there. The capital improvement plan. So the 10-year capital improvement plan that we developed is an extension of the 5-year facility plan. This document is fluid and will be reviewed annually, and the plan will allow the district to obtain community feedback on current facility needs without committing to projects too early. So 10 years is a long time to predict out, so things will change. It's not if, it's will. So then as we review that, we may make different suggestions, hear different suggestions, and then just adapt to those needs of any given year. The segregated account. So tonight, the board will be asked to approve the creation of an additional interest-bearing money market account that holds only the Fund 46 trust funds. And the bank, the reason this is on the agenda tonight is the bank needs a copy of the minutes approving this fund in order to open the accounts. That's one of their requirements to do that. So the recommendation tonight is in accordance with state statute 120.137. It is recommended that the board approve the long-term capital improvement plan, the resolution creating the trust fund, and the creation of the additional money market account. Once approved, the bank account will be established and a small deposit will be made into that account to start the 5-year waiting period. This is strategic in that in 5 years, we will be able to spend that money going into the summer because the dollar amount will have been deposited in April, so we can utilize that account potentially for summer projects 5 years from now. In July, then, the board will be asked to approve the final 23-24 fund transfer. That is outside of the current fiscal year, but the law allows us to make that final transfer. We can make it for the June 30th, the ending of the fiscal year at June 30th. We can do that until the end of July. So it gives me time to kind of close the books, see where we're at, and then make that transfer into the fund. And going forward, an annual recommendation for that amount of that transfer will be presented to the board near the end of that respective fiscal year.
So Ryan, the idea is we would have this money market account
Yep.
that we would put money in each year is the anticipated thing, and the money that would be put in first would have to wait 5 years, and then the next year, 5 years?
Correct.
I mean, like that, right?
Correct. And we're not obligated to put money in. We can put money in, but if 1 year we don't have the money to put in, we don't have
Then we
to
don't
put
have
that
to.
money in. Correct.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify, as soon as we put money in that first year, if we put money in year 3, 4, and 5 as well, once year 5 hits, we can take out that whole amount, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't all have to, it doesn't have to, the amount doesn't have to sit for 5 years. Only 5 years from the first time we make a deposit.
Just the initial deposit.
Correct, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so as you guys can see in the agenda, we got actually 2 other things that relate to this, so we do need to act on each one separately, so, I guess if there's no, questions or anything from Ryan, I would, entertain a motion of adopting the resolution or not, I guess, whatever you guys want to do.
Arj is ready to read something.
Do we have to read the whole thing?
I can read it.
Well, I
You
can.
go ahead and read it.
Okay. Okay.
It's good to read it into the record.
Okay. I'm making a recommendation. We pass a resolution from the Board of Beaver Dam Unified School District authorizing the establishment of a long-term capital improvement trust fund. Whereas the school board of the Beaver Dam School District, Dodge County, Wisconsin, the district, has determined that it is necessary, desirable, and in the best interest of the district to establish a long-term capital improvement trust fund for the purpose of financing the costs of capital improvements included in the school board's long-term capital improvement plan, called the capital improvement plan. And whereas the capital improvement plan is a capital improvement plan of at least 10 years and has been approved by the school board on April 8th, 2024, now therefore be it resolved by the school board of the district that 1, establishment of the long-term capital improvement trust fund the school board of the Beaver Dam School District hereby authorizes and approves the establishment of a long-term capital improvement trust fund pursuant to section 120.137 of the Wisconsin statutes and designated as the long-term capital improvement trust fund, the trust fund for the purpose of financing the costs of capital improvements included in the capital improvement plan. 2, transfers to the fund. The trust fund shall be funded with a transfer or transfers of funds from the general fund of the district as may be authorized and approved by the school board and shall at the time meet the requirements set forth in section 120.137 Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you, Marge. Are there any questions regarding the resolution? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt it.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Mary, could I have a roll call, please?
Marge Jorgensen,
Yes.
Mark Rose,
Yes.
Mary Coombs,
Yes.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Panther,
Yes.
Gary Stillman,
Yes.
Isaac Clark.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to 8.3, the long-term capital improvement plan.
This plan was included in your board packet. Were there any questions on the plan that you saw?
Let me just re-ground the board a little bit. The details of the first 5 years are probably very, very familiar because we review those annually traditionally as part of this effort with the trust fund. We've extended the plan to a 10-year outlook, and as Ryan referenced, that's a pretty broad look, but we have certain things identified, typical replacement cycles, et cetera, that you might see, but we will review this annually and update it as needed through both operations and board efforts, as we typically have done in the past.
So this is fluid.
Yeah.
Any questions regarding the 10-year plan? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the long-term capital improvement plan. Mary, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mark Rose,
Yes.
Mary Coombs,
Yes.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Panther,
Yes.
Gary Stillman,
Yes.
Isaac Clark,
Yes.
Marge Jorgensen.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried, thank you. All right, 8.4, authorization to establish a bank account. Any questions regarding that at all for Ryan before we work on that? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to authorize Mr. Cashman to establish a bank account for the trust.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Mary, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mary Coombs,
Yes.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Panther,
Yes.
Gary Stillman,
Yes.
Isaac Clark,
Yes.
Marge Jorgensen,
Yes.
Mark Rose.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to 9.1, Board of Education Student Representative Report. Graciela.
Hi, everyone. So we're going to start with the FFA. So the FFA is getting ready for their annual plant bedding sale, which starts Thursday, May 2nd. And they're currently working with the Beaver Dam Agribusiness to host its annual Something Special from Wisconsin pancake breakfast on the morning of May 5th. FFA members have been having tons of success this spring. One member just qualified for state in the discussion contest and will be competing against 9 other students in June. 2 others are state finalists for their proficiencies. This means their proficiency was in the top 4 in the state for their categories, and they will find out how they did in June. and 2 other members were sectional winners for sheep production proficiency and the other in poultry production proficiency. The career development regional competitions came to an end, and 8 of the 11 teams placed high enough to move on to the state competition, which will happen on April 19th and April 24th. In order to move on, teams need to place in the top 5 at regionals to advance. The teams that will be moving on are agriculture sales, agronomy, envirothon, food science, forestry, livestock, poultry, and veterinary science. The FCCLA participated in their greeting card project for the 10 senior care facilities in Beaver Dam for the Easter holiday. And in total, they delivered 1,082 greeting cards between Christmas, Valentine's Day, and Easter to 358 residents in the area. This project was made possible by the high school students and elementary students from Lincoln, Jefferson, Wilson, and Washington schools. The organization hopes to continue this project in the future by adding other elementary schools as well as the Beaver Dam Middle School. The leadership conference for this organization is taking place starting today and ending this Wednesday in the Kalahari Conference Center in the Wisconsin Dells. 2 students will be participating in the conference under the repurpose and redesign levels 2 and 3. The HOSA State Convention will be taking place this weekend into early next week in the Chula Vista Resort and Conference Center in the Wisconsin Dells. They will have over 20 students participating in this conference. And the BDUSD Key Club has awarded its officers for next year. This gives students the opportunity to help run, plan, organize, and connect with others both inside and outside the organization. Members are currently helping with the food drive for the playground movement, and anyone can donate and be entered to win a free lunch. The food drive distribution day is April 28th, and many individuals from the club will be helping out. They're also planning both their Earth Day cleanup on April 27th and their annual highway cleanup event. That's all I got.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Graciela?
I'd just like to commend you on the greeting cards. I bet that makes those folks' day. I can guarantee that, so way to go.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 9.2, Operations Committee.
Operations Committee did not meet in March. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 22nd.
Thank you, Marge. 9.3, Teaching and Learning.
Teaching and Learning also did not meet in March, and we are also scheduled for April 22nd.
Thank you. All right, 9.4, Board Engagement. Anyone have any engagement opportunities that they participated in the last month that they'd like to talk about?
I had a pretty low-key month. I did one engagement at Lincoln, and like I said before, had a great visit there with the staff. Good conversation. Great visit throughout the school. One thing I forgot to mention too is all the artwork throughout the school, all the student artwork that is hung up everywhere in that school. So that's a neat little. That's cool too. We got a good look at a lot of stuff, and it definitely adds to the school. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
I too attended Lincoln, and like I said earlier, I was really impressed and really enjoyed the tour, so thank you again. Anyone else have anything you'd like to add? No? Mark, Karen?
Oh, wait.
Okay, all right. All right, then we'll move on to 9.5, recognitions. So I guess I'd like to start, if it'd be okay. As all of you know, that tonight is Gary's last night for a meeting in service on the board. So I'm not really good at this stuff, Gary, but I do want to thank you. You've been on the board for a total of 33 years. 2 different stints. 1989 to 2007, which is a total of 18 years, and 2009 to 2024 is 15 years. Very active on the board. You were a 3-time president in 1992 and 93, 1997 and 1998, in 2002 and 2003. 3-time treasurer, 1994 and 95, 2004 and 2005, in 2019 and 2020. and a 5-time clerk. 1990, 91, 95, 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2006, and 2007. So the only position you didn't hold was the VP position, but you're very active in all the other ones. Served on a lot of committees, negotiations, compensation and benefits, grievance, administrative compensation and wellness. And you're also our TIF rep on the building project committee, business and community partnership, volunteer with PALS, big sporting fan of Beaver Dam, and who knows what else I forgot. So I just want to shake your hand and congratulate you on your retirement, your years of experience. And I'm sure we'll see you around. I'm going to find someone else to drink at the state education convention now. I won't have you to break anymore. So, again, thank you very much for everything, Gary. You want to say something?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Heather. Next month, when you're sitting in this seat, I encourage you to do a lot of listening because there is a lot to learn. My journey on school board started 35 years ago. Now I get choked up. But when I first ran, and there were 5 of us running for 3 positions, and my campaign committee consisted of my 2 sons. Their job was to wear this button, vote for my dad, spilling for the school board. And they must have did a good job because I was elected. And so I thank them and my wife, even though she refused to wear a button. But both the boys are here this evening, and we're proud to say they're both school administrators. Over the last 30 years, I've worked with 6 different superintendents, countless teachers, administrators, and the Beaver Dam Board has always been committed to what's best for kids, and that has been a top priority. Students come first. Also, the board and teachers and administration, we've always worked well together, and I think we've had an open line of communication, and I think that's been very important and very unique for Beaver Dam from when I hear stories of other boards, but we always work well together, and I think that's a testament to our district, and I think it's a good thing why we're a good district, and I think why people like to work here too. For the past 8 years, I volunteered with Lori Schwager's class. I hope to do that for many more years. And finally, been an honor serving, and thank the community and all of you for the support you've given me over the years. Thank you.
Anyone else have any recognitions or like to say anything to Gary?
Yeah, Gary, I just want to say thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure serving on this board with you. You know, you've been a leader for sure, and just an absolute great guy. I really appreciate the amount of time that you spend in the school, and it's always good to see you out and about too at all the school events. So you'll definitely be missed, but I definitely appreciate all the advice you've given me from my time on the board. So thank you.
Gary and I have worked together now for 18 years on this board, and he's been a rock to kind of give you direction, and low-key guy, but very active and very knowledgeable. And I appreciate the information he gave me to, because we had a couple rough spots there at times during those 18 years, but we did make it through it, and I think it was what we decide, like he said, the board worked together for the best for the kids, and that's always our aim. So thank you, Gary, for all your work.
Anything else?
I do have one more recognition I'd like to make tonight. I'd like to recognize Terry Peterson from the Daily Citizen. Terry has worked for the district, made presentations in the newspaper. If you see her on the daily online and everything like that. She's always been there for Beaver Dam schools. And I know recently we walked together through the middle school and had a chance to talk and just recognize all the effort that you've put in. So thank you, Terry, for your help.
Anyone else got anything before I turn it over to Mark?
Gary, one of the things, there's a lot that I'm going to miss about having you on the board. But your willingness and knowledge and desire to bring issues forward and have face-to-face conversations. Whenever you've had a question or a concern, is something more people need to do in this world. So, thank you.
Lots of
Thank you.
questions.
Lots of questions. And you'd come to my office or tell me you were coming.
No, I just
Talk
pop in.
about it. I never had to wonder where I stood, so thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, thank you for being my mentor and for making me laugh.
Lots of stories we can tell over the years, so we had fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's been enjoyable.
Anyone get anything else? All right.
Other recognition.
Yeah, other recognitions,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Ones that I can, be more a little stoic about.
That's fine.
All right, I've got a few, so I want to echo congratulations to John, Marge, and Heather on being elected to the school board for the 24-27 term. Want to thank the community members that have already taken the survey, so it's really important. If you know somebody who resides in our district, if you're watching this and haven't taken it or know somebody that might not have taken it, we want people to participate. We're not telling you how we want you to answer the questions, but we need the context. So please, please participate, encourage your neighbors to do so. And if folks have any other questions, they can reach out. If they have other wonderments about some of the context that's on the survey, because we can't put every single detail of context in there, we put a fair amount, as much as they let us. There is also an FAQ that's right on our website. There's a whole bucket regarding our facilities efforts, and there's an FAQ that might answer some of your questions or could even help clarify some of the misinformation, believe it or not, that winds up on the interweb. Spring play kicks off this week, Still Life with Iris. It runs the 11th through the 14th, so if you're looking for a great date night, it's a great thing to do. Also wanted to recognize we had a number of athletes from track and field that qualified for the indoor state. And we had Mila Westra, who got 6th place in the 800 meter. And then I know we did a good job of doing a shout out over the weekend on this, but McKenna Nelson, national championship on the drive, pitch, and putt competition at Augusta National. That's pretty amazing. And she's an outstanding student and puts in a lot of time to her craft of golfing. And then one last thing, just it is the heart of testing season. I know that our high school students are a little bit beyond it already, but middle school and elementary, a lot goes into that. So just want to recognize the kids, the staff, IT department, principals, parents, just to helping. It's not the most important thing that we do in schools. It is absolutely not, but it is important, and it's important context. And I want to thank people for taking it seriously and giving their best effort. That's it.
Alrighty.
Excuse me, John, I do have one more. After we had, I'd like to thank Tracy Probst and the group that put together the forum for us to have, to discuss our views on being a school board candidate. And the 4 of us were running, had opportunities to speak to answer the question and speak to the public who were either watching on TV or hearing it on the radio or being there in person. And I appreciate that, and Tracy from the Chamber of Commerce put that together, and Good Karma Broadcasting, Mike Tronson was MC when he did a really good job, I thought. And I just appreciate that opportunity that we all had a chance to get the views out there. And congratulations to Heather, and thank you also for Steve for running and giving us, opening up some other viewpoints. So I guess we're good going forward.
Anything else?
Yeah, shout out to the soccer team today. They're playing in Madison, so good luck.
Anyone else? All righty. We'll move on to 10.1.
The board may recess into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, paren 1, paren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss specific employees and employee groups, the superintendent, and to discuss negotiation strategy, and Wisconsin statute 19.85, paren 1, paren F, to consider financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations, specifically for the purpose of discussing and taking action, if appropriate, regarding the issuance of a preliminary notice of consideration of contract non-renewal under Wisconsin statutes 118.22 to a teacher, discussing and taking action, if appropriate, regarding the resignation of a teacher.
Okay, that's a motion then.
And yes, I make that as,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Mary, if you have a roll call, please.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Maniger,
Yes.
Gary Steelman,
Yes.
Isaac Ronco,
Yes.
Mark Robertson,
yes.
Ron Powell,
Yes.
Mary Coons.
Yes.
Okay, move on to 12.1, resignations and retirements.
There are several resignations on the board agenda for your consideration tonight.
I move the board approve the resignations as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resignations and retirements as presented. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Doesn't look like we have any leaves of absence. So we'll move on to 12.3, appointments.
I'll be asking for you to approve contracts for John Baston, math teacher, FTE at the high school for next school year. Riley Kaufman, math teacher at the middle school for next school year. Rebecca Klusmeyer, music teacher at our elementary schools for next school year. And changing Erica Whittier's contract from half-time to full-time for art teacher at our elementary schools starting next school year.
I move the board approve the appointments as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the appointments as presented. All those, roll call. Mary, can I have a roll call, please?
Tracy Manson,
Yes.
Gary Stevens,
Yes.
Isaac Ronco,
Yes.
Mark Jorgensen,
Yes.
John Kraus,
Yes.
Mary Coons,
Yes.
Maria Mason.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to 12.4, preliminary notice of non-renewal.
Looking for someone to make a motion based off of what was discussed in closed session.
I make a motion to issue preliminary notice in writing in accordance with Wisconsin statutes 118.22 as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the preliminary notice of non-renewal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 12.5, renewal of teacher contracts for 2024-2025.
Renewal of teacher contracts in the state of Wisconsin per statute 118.22 is a statutory requirement that we do every year. At this time, I'm asking for your approval granting the administration the authority to issue teacher contracts to current certified staff for the 24-25 school year. With your approval, we will then issue teacher contracts no later than May 15th, and teachers must return them signed no later than June 15th.
I move the board approve the renewal of teacher contracts for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to renew the renewal of the teacher contracts for 2024-2025. Mary, can I have a roll call?
Gary Stevens,
Yes.
Isaac Ronco,
Yes.
Mark Jorgensen,
Yes.
John Kraus,
Yes.
Mary Coons,
Yes.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Manson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, we'll move on to 12.6, board policy updates.
All right, this is the second and final reading for the spring policy updates. Just a reminder, there's one new policy, Policy 6611, regarding district-supported or sponsored student activity accounts, and this is further streamlining and clarifying best practices. There are also 23 policy revisions, and one policy recommended to be rescinded regarding tutoring that is not necessary, as the allowance for this is already referenced in our educational options policy. Based on a review that was conducted and the recommendation of Neola, I'm requesting the board approve the updates that were presented.
Any questions from Mark on the updates? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the policy updates.
I move for adoption of the policy changes as recommended by Neola and reviewed by the administration
Second.
and presented here tonight.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the board policy updates that were presented here tonight. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 13.1, payment of claims.
I move for approval of claims in the amount of $3,966,232.94.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay the payment of claims. Mary, cover roll call vote, please.
Isaac Ronco,
Yes.
Mark Jorgensen,
Yes.
John Kraus,
Yes.
Mary Coons,
Yes.
Maria Mason,
Yes.
Lisa Manson,
Yes.
Gary Stevens.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Motion
Anyone?
to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.